As it stands, it appears that Ubisoft is taking a beating right now. Now, the one thing everybody knows is whenever things are going wild, Ubisoft, being one of the companies that drops many games every year, they usually find themselves at the center of it. For some reason, gamers just think that they are a punching bag. Now, I would probably maybe say, yeah, that's what you get when you're pretty much leading on the forefront in terms of effective, delivery of games. Now, so the quality of those games, that's not what I'm talking about. Every audience within the Ubisoft pipeline has to also judge and measure whichever games they're actually looking forward to and what the quality is. I'm from the Division camp. Tom Clancy's The Division. Even the Ghost Recon family is still more like cousins to the family of gamers that I'm a part of. But what we're seeing right now with Ubisoft going through these financial challenges, to me, is very interesting. Overall, Ubisoft is not the only one that's facing these, challenges. Bandai Namco, even as far as them, still see themselves in a position where they're wanting to do some, reduction in headcount. In the case of Ubisoft, there was a strike, and then there were some employees that also claimed that they wanted to leave. What could be going on within the company? First of all, there were all kinds of allegations and all kinds of controversies a few years ago with some of the Ubisoft leadership. Somewhere, somehow, Ubisoft was able to, in a sense, dodge a lot of the, blowback that could have come from this. Believe you me, many companies did not fare as well as Ubisoft. If we actually think about, say, even some of the controversies that were in Activision, it just led the company to be, in a sense, irredeemable by its, current head and leadership. So the company getting acquired by another company seemed to basically remove that stigma from the company. In the case of Ubisoft, nonetheless, the Guillermo family are downright in a position where they do not seem like they want to let this company go. I mean, can't blame them. The one thing I could blame them for is actually bringing the company to a point or allowing the company to get to the position that it is, where it no longer seems like it's strong enough to be able to weather the storms in terms of the game development market today. These storms were basically created by a lot of AAA companies leaving what they, knew as the focus of what gamers wanted and starting to pursue other things. In many cases, they were pursuing money more than anything else. In some other cases, they allowed for their games to get hijacked by people who are not really too interested in appealing to gamers with the creations. And what that's happened now is the polarization of the culture has now even emboldened gamers to realize that all they have to do is absolutely nothing. They literally have to raise their hands in the air and turn around and walk away. And these companies eventually, start burning to the ground. EA is also in another interesting and similar boat in a way, but they themselves already have what I think is a good moneymaker, or I guess I'll say a set of moneymakers in sports games. Ubisoft has Rainbow Six Siege, which showed up in one of the top 20, most played games on PlayStation week ending October 5th. However, that doesn't really mean anything. It's one game. What they will probably need to thrive if they wanted to go the EA route would be probably numerous games, because you can see that their pipeline, their developers, the quantity of people they employ and hire are all in need of being cared for and catered for, which is a huge expense. So right now, the Division community is still looking at Ubisoft as a company and wondering, how is it going to fare? How are games going to come out of this particular company and their studios? How is the Assassin's Creed game, which pretty much seemed to be at the center of a lot of the controversy, how is that game going to do? Would it cause a cascade effect, a domino effect on other games? All of these uncertainties continue to point to one inevitable, outcome that many people can probably point to. You will more than likely see at least a weakened Ubisoft. That's the best case scenario right now. Like a Ubisoft that doesn't seemingly have a lot of what it takes to deliver how it has always delivered in the past. Unless, of course, they can find a way to manage their cost and find a way to increase their efficiency. And also, most importantly, find a way to continue to appeal to their audiences. The customer base is one of those that is actually way more powerful than investors. Apparently, for the longest time, we had always thought the investors, had a lot of sway, and they did. The only thing is they don't have the infinite money glitch, or they don't have as much of a money supply as the, the masses and the individuals out here. So I'd say for Ubisoft Massive and even the other studios, as someone who's a Division player, the best thing that can be done right now, even the sister studios that are working on the Division, is just to continue to focus. Just a few weeks ago, about a week ago, the director for X Defiant came out and said that their game is continuing in terms of the next season. That sounds like good news. It signals that, regardless of what may be going on in the turmoil, Ubisoft seems to still have a grasp on its internal pipelines. However, maybe this hold may not last too long. Who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, they could bring out season 2, but what is the next season going to look like? Is it going to appeal to other gamers? With Call of Duty on the that seems to basically mean, well, you're going to have to compete against pretty much the year's biggest game at the end of the day. So by and large, we all know exactly what needs to happen here, and I'm sure Ubisoft and its leadership knows what needs to happen here. Whether or not the Guillermo family is running the company, to me, it's not really a problem. I don't care. I mean, I think the last thing that I would care about is, another person's pocket. However, the person provides a product that I'm interested in, so I'd say if they can provide a good product for me and even for majority of gamers, we'll not be shy in, I would say patronizing them financially. There's nothing wrong with that. Most of us Division players are, in that ecosystem. When many of us have bought multiple copies of the Division, we've gifted it to family and friends. We've bought multiple copies on multiple platforms to play with people that we want to engage with. These are kind of the behaviors that a lot of spenders actually go through in the Division ecosystem. So it's not a matter of, whether or not we have any kind of animus with or against Ubisoft. It's a nameless, faceless corporation. We just know that there's something in the entertainment realm that they provide for us, and we would like to engage with it. But if they're not going to do that, I fear that for the most part, people are going to find other interests. People are going to change their tune. And, for the most part, they're going to be left hanging. I'd hate for that to happen because, again, this is a hobby that we like. And seeing how everything is so controversial in today's polarized world, I also fear that this hobby could be, in a sense, damaged. But perhaps a reset is needed, but I would hate for the reset to happen now because we've been waiting for this Division 3 game for a long time. Perhaps the Division 3 will usher in the reset. If anything, the best case scenario is actually something that we can point over to that. But my fellow Division agents and those who may be looking forward to what may be going on soon, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I've heard some of you talk about, say, some of the political and ideological stance of the developers are off-putting to you. Perhaps that's something that we need to explore in other videos. I'm very interested in continuing to read your comments because at the end of the day, it's something that everybody will need to take into consideration, because if majority of the audience and majority of the audience base in terms of who buys these games are not vibing or in tune with the product, then I think we really have a huge problem on our hands. But again, I'll leave it to you. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. And hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.